Hey guys, I just wanted to do an, I guess you call it like an addendum video to my the retightening and latching. I have been asked the question on how do you prevent knots, and I thought I'd kind of share that information because it will be beneficial, to everybody. I replied to the person that asked me that directly, but I thought I'd share that, with everyone else to help, help out. The way you prevent knots is make sure when you are doing your rotations, whether you're using the 2-point, 3-point, or 4-point rotation, when you take the lock through the new growth, make sure that you pull that lock all the way through till it is completely parallel or in line with the direction that you are going. What happens, or how the knot forms, is when you don't do that, when you don't pull the lock all the way through the new growth, you end up with a little hump there. And then depending on, what point in the rotation that you have not pulled it all the way through, the hair starts to mat and form around that point. And if you don't catch it in time, then it actually will form a knot. So make sure that you pull the, hey sweet pea, my little outdoor adopted cat that we got here has decided to come and visit me. Make sure that you pull it all the way through. But don't fret if you happen to, make that mistake and don't catch it. I've got one. I don't know if I can show it. I might try to take a picture of it. Ah, here it is. I don't know if I got that in the camera right. And then, of course, I didn't put this on macro. That, based on where it is, I believe that one was done with the retightening that I did back in April. And I was kind of in a rush, trying to get through. Actually, I started, the end of March, and I was trying to get through, by my birthday. And didn't pull that one all the way through. And, of course, where it's located, kind of what I call like the underlayers from where my hair kind of naturally falls, I didn't see it. So it's there. I have another one kind of back up in here, and also one in that first, what I call my first layer, because that's where I start, and where I started, when I put the braids in, right here in the middle of my neck, at the nape of the neck. I did those. Those were my first, my first retightening. Two of the mistakes, that I made. But now you can't even see the knot at all. It has completely meshed and whatever, condensed and meshed within the lock. That's the reason I can't find it now. And I knew it was kind of right here kind of by my ear, and I can't find it. So don't worry about it, unless you are I'm not all that, what I call anal retentive about my locks. So I'm not worried about it, but it probably will fade away. So, don't worry about it. Second point that I wanted to bring up is, if you have, and which most of us do that are locking, if you have tightly coiled hair, I would not suggest that. I'm pausing. Here's a plane that went by and you might not be able to hear me. I would suggest that you not latch your hair completely, when it's completely wet. Make sure that the hair is highly moisturized, but not wet. I have noticed that when I was, spritzing the new growth, spritzing it till it was almost wet, and then going and retightening, I was noticing that the next day my scalp in that area that I worked on would be a little sore. Now I've already learned from experience not to latch all the way down to the scalp, all tight and down to the scalp. I've only done that once. So I couldn't understand, well, why is my scalp sore? Now I do, understand that your scalp may end up being a little bit more tender because you're not combing the hair every day anymore. And two, I don't do, I do very little styling. I, freestyles. That's where I wear my hair all the time. So I can understand, can see maybe, that, but it shouldn't be that tender, from just from the retightening. And like I said, I'm not retightening all the way to the scalp. And I read a blog post from Brunsly, and I don't know if I have her name right, about, oh gosh, I can't remember the lady's name, but she has sister locks. And where she says, she would have her sister locks cornrowed, into 4 or 5 cornrows right after she washed it, and then it was done kind of tight. And she said, she experienced pain, but didn't really, pay a whole lot of attention to it. And that old saying, that old kind of stupid saying about no pain, no gain, and there's no beauty without pain. After several years of doing this, to get the crinkles and braiding her hair, getting the hair braided tight while it was wet, after several years of doing that, she lost the hair. Locks came all the way out from the root. And that was basically like an alopecia from the tight pulling. What we tend to forget is, like I said, this is for tightly coiled hair folks, and I definitely fall in that category, is that our hair shrinks. So if you're braiding it while it's wet, it's stretched, and the hair, as it dries, is going to do what it naturally does. It starts to contract. Well, you've braided it or latched it in its expanded state, and then it's going back to its natural state, which means it's going to start pulling. As it's shrinking, it's going to pull. That hair is going to start pulling. What? I'm trying to do a video. Okay, let me show y'all. There, you in the camera. Look at that, you in the camera. And you're like, pay attention to me. I'll pay attention to you in a minute. Okay. So yeah, highly moisturize your hair. If it hasn't been, moisturized in a day or two, spritz it. Go off and do something for like 5 minutes or so. Let it kind of dry to the point where it's damp and not wet, and then latch it. Your scalp will thank you. And I think your hair will thank you too. So that's all I wanted to put out there. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.